All right, Shalom. I want to start off by saying, Call Allah, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles of Israel, aka the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach his truth and all truth and sincerity. All right, real quick, I don't want to make this too long, but we're just going to go how the spirit goes because it's a lot of to unpack right here. And brother posted on the IG about this topic I'm about to get into, and it's words from I guess he's the Prime Minister of Canada, whose name is Mark Carney. And basically, when a brother, brothers post some kind of interesting piece of news, you always gotta research it and find out about it for yourself. And I did that, and it's pretty recent. It's like a week old, and I didn't hear about this. They're not really publicizing it much on American news media. So, it just goes to show. And I got the title of the video came from a quote from the Canadian Prime Minister, and it said the good old days are gone and won't return. Now, that's just I can be said no better. All right. So this article is from December 17th. It's from Yahoo Finance, third party Money Wise. And that's ironically it's from December 17th, which I'm going into Revelation the 17th chapter. And we go right into it. And Lord, willing, this be edifying. So this says Mark Carney warns US Canada economic relationship is now over and says it will never be the same. And it says how to survive a drastically different world. And that goes to show in itself, because you go into Revelation 17th chapter when it talks about the beast shall hate the whore going into the EU. Now, granted, Canada is not part of the EU, but Canada is part of NATO. All right, and that also goes into what Esau's Satan's house being divided because Canada is Esau. All right, so that goes to show the climate and how Babylon is falling. America, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, is going to show how much their allies are starting not to rock with them that much. All right, and this is more to come. So you got to understand, it's about to be so-called 2026. So who knows what awaits in 2026? Because remember, this is all the will of Yahawah BAHASHAM, and this has already been calculated by Yahawah BAHASHAM, and it's all just physically manifesting as we speak. And it's going to show how the Lord is just breaking down America piece by piece. So I'm going to go into it. So it says, the U.S. and Canada have long enjoyed an unusually close economic relationship with integrated supply chains, aligned industries, and decades of largely friction-free trade. Friction-free trade. Now, where's the friction starting now? With these tariffs that Trump has been talking about doing, and Canada being one of the countries he talked about putting those tariffs on. Now, even though Canada is not part of the EU, Canada being part of NATO, but Canada has strong ties to the EU's countries, which are the European Union. And a lot of their ties go economically, all right? Because I think that their economic ties they're mostly tied to them in America, all right? So this now the friction starts, all right? And it says, but that era is ending, according to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. It says this decades-long process of an even ever closer economic relationship between the Canadian and U.S. economies is now over, Carney said in Ottawa recently. He cautioned that many of Canada's former strengths built on its ties with the U.S., which is the whore, have now become vulnerabilities. In particular, President Trump's tariff policy is jeopardizing Canadian jobs that depend on exports to the U.S. So see there? It's involving money, because at the end of the day, that's what Esau's God is his money. His technology, but mainly Esau's bread and butter is his money and the financial strain he puts on people. All right, and that also comes from the elite banking families. All right, they do the same thing. They do the same thing America does, but to the whole earth. All right, and America, Trump, this administration is doing the same thing. But remember, America is not what it once was. See, they're trying to move like they were back in the day, but it's not like that no more. America, that's why the Lord said Babylon is fallen. It is fallen. But the pride of the heart, the pride of their heart has deceived them to make them think that they're still as up as they once were. But continuing on, it says, The jobs of workers in our industries most affected by U.S. tariffs, autos, steel, lumber, are under threat, Carney said, adding that uncertainty is causing Canadian businesses to hold back investments. So basically, Canada's saying America, and with these tariffs, is fucking they shit up. So how much? So if it continues like this, and Trump seems to be standing on business about these tariffs and what he's doing, and to their own NATO allies, EU allies too, what is that going to make what is it going to make them feel? And that's where the divide is going to get stronger. And that's how ultimately it says what those that live deliciously with thee, those that were alongside ruling with you, they're not happy campers. All right. It says, simply put, and this is where I get the title of the video. It says, simply put, the good old days are gone and won't return. See, he's right. The good old days are gone and won't return. So the good old days of that friction-free trade and all that is over. Remember, America is falling. It is falling. Babylon the Great in the scriptures is talking about America, man. That's who it's pertaining to. And all the motherfuckers that ruled alongside with it, with the whore. All right? But continuing on, it says, our relationship with the United States will never be the same as it was, even though in a new protectionist world, we have the best trade deal of any country, he added. This isn't the first time Carney has signaled a profound shift. Back in March, he warned that the old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over, and that Canada must fundamentally reimagine its economy for a drastically different world. And Canada isn't alone in absorbing the shock. The U.S. is the world's largest consumer market for goods and services, and many countries rely heavily on American demand. Broad-based tariffs could therefore have severe economic consequences far beyond North America, which means what? Europe too, and other parts of the world, other continents. But remember, it says what? The beast shall hate the whore. The beast is the EU. All right. It says, indeed, Carney has cautioned before that Trump's sweeping tariffs will rupture the global economy. However, this isn't the first time the world has seen a geopolitical shock. The global economy has weathered upheaval before: recessions, trade wars, financial crisis, and while no one can predict the exact landscape ahead, investors can still build out a path, especially by focusing on the assets that can hold up when uncertainty runs high. But it's so much uncertainty going on right now. And it's so much chaos going on right now economically. And on top of that, you still got all this war shit going on. And it's all going hand in hand. All right? Okay, here we go. And I remember I was talking with the brother yesterday, or what is that? No, what's today? Saturday? So, it might have been with a brother. Might have been linked with a brother. Yeah, Thursday. Because, Thursday we had off. Yeah. So, now it says a time-tested haven. And they're about to start talking about gold. It says, Ray Dalio, founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates, has repeatedly stressed the importance of holding one particular safe haven asset, gold. Excuse me. People don't have typically an adequate amount of gold in their portfolio, Dalio told CNBC earlier this year. When bad times come, gold is a very effective diversifier. Most recently, he reiterated the point, noting that in a time of great stress, what you'll find is that gold will do well when other assets don't. Long seen as the ultimate safe haven, gold isn't tied to any single country, currency, or economy. It can be printed out of thin air like fiat money, and in times of economic turmoil or geopolitical uncertainty, investors tend to pile in, driving up its value. And that's what's happening right now. It says, over the past 12 months, gold prices have surged just over 60%. One way to invest in gold that also provides significant tax advantages is to open a gold IRA with the help of Priority Gold. Gold IRAs allow investors to hold physical gold or gold-related assets within a retirement account, thereby combining the tax advantages of an IRA with the protective benefits of investing in gold, making it an option for those looking to help shield their retirement funds against economic uncertainty. But that's still Esau planning for the future. That's still Esau thinking that they're going to have rulership and dominion over the earth, and that they're always going to have this wealth for generations to come. But here they don't understand. YAHAWASHI about to come back. The Israelites, under YAHAWASHI, starting with the elect of Israel, we about to take all that back, because that belongs to him and us. Not to you fucking devils, man. Now this is going to other stuff. Talk about, you know, but I got just the article. And they can read that. It's from Yahoo Finance, and it's talk about, you know, the Prime Minister talk about economic relationship with America is now over. You'll find it. But now I'm gonna get these scriptures because you see what he said. He made an interesting point. He said, what did he say? What did he say? Here we go. He said, and Canada isn't alone in absorbing shock. The U.S. is the world's largest consumer market for goods and services, and many countries rely heavily on American demand. Because why? That's how the nations live deliciously. Off of the financial gain they get from America, so the demand of supply and goods. But remember, that was Trump's whole thing, was to get America to be less reliant on goods and services and resources from other countries. But it says, and Canada isn't alone in absorbing the shock. The U.S. is the world's largest consumer market for goods and services, and many countries rely heavily on American demand. Broad-based tariffs could therefore have severe economic consequences far beyond North America. So far beyond NATO countries, but then you have EU countries, but they're all in bed with each other. They're all in cahoots with each other. All right. So Canada is in cahoots with countries of the EU, which makes it part of the beast, but not regionally wise. Okay. So let's get into the Revelation, the 17th chapter. Revelation 17. It's funny. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. I'm gonna jump back and forth between the King James and NLT. So in the King James, the title of the first the caption on top said the doom of Babylon. Now, in the time of John the Revelator, in the book of Revelations, he on the island of Patmos during the Roman Empire. Babylon, the empire of Babylon, both of them have already went down. So what is it told when it said the doom of Babylon? Babylon the Great, which is what? America. Because America fits that description of what Babylon or Babylon the Great represented and what they did in the earth at the time of its existence. All right. So get right into it. So this Revelation chapter 17, verse 1, and it says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now that's talking about America. All right, verse 2 of Revelation chapter 17, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Now, Canada is part of that. Even though Canada is very, very close, was right on top of America, proximity-wise, but it's not America, all right? It's part of North America, but it's not. The United States itself represents Babylon the Great, all right? Canada, all the nations didn't live deliciously off of Canada. It was America. Canada is not everywhere imposing their will on everyone. That's America. Everybody's not influenced by Canada. That's America. But Canada is part of NATO, all right? So verse 3 of Revelation chapter 17, it says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, those 7 heads are 7 governments, and those 10 kings that make up the EU, European Union. All right? It says, verse 4 in Revelation chapter 17, it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Now, what did it say that what was Babylon in the book of Jeremiah? What was it in the Lord's hands? It said it was a golden cup. Because the Lord used America to what? Ultimately, primarily punish Israel. And remember, this is the place, this is the land of our captivity where we was going to be in our last captivity and deliver out of, and when YAHAWASHI was going to come back. So I wasn't talking about Babylon back then, because at that time, Babylon was already done and away with. And that land was inhabited again. It said the land of Babylon shall not be inhabited again. All right. And it says verse 5, and it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So what? America is a prime representative of evil and wickedness, man. These elites, the heads of the Dukes of Edom, used America to push their wickedness on a real heavy, real big, great scale. They used America to push their vibration of wickedness and abominations, and made the nation drunk off of it, while playing rulers in the background, by calling the shots, and it's Amalek. All right. But continuing on, it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of YAHAWASHI. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Because why? This is where we was this where we've been accosted at. This is where we've been vexed. This is where we've been oppressed. Hell, this is where we were destroyed. We were destroyed. We've experienced nothing but death, hardships, oppression, and all that here in America, which is Babylon the Great. And it says, and the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth, and those 7 heads and those mountains represent the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, Germania Minor, and the British. All right. And it says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not. It says 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast, read it again. It says, and the 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Now it said, now the 5 that are 5 that are fallen are the Greeks, Spanish, the French, Germania Minor, and Germania Minor. The 1, and it says, and the 1 is the Roman Empire, because obviously that's where John was living in at the time. And it says, and the Roman Empire, and it says and it says the one that is not yet come is the British. And look where we at now. Look who came up, the British. When out of the Roman Empire that was waking, the last leg of the Roman Empire, these Edomite countries now. All right, and it says verse 11, and it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Now that beast that was and is not and makes the 8th is of the 7 is America, because it was spawned from UK and Britain. And America America also represents the horde. Verse 12, and it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which represent the EU, which receive no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Because why? America's even at the forefront of the EU, the European Union. Everything about the EU, everything's America, gotta go through America. NATO too. And they're all in cahoots, because what? Look at the whole thing with Ukraine. They need America to be in the midst alongside with that. It said receive no kingdom as yet, because they're alongside ruling in America's reign. And it says, receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Verse 14, it says, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen faithful and chosen and faithful. Because why? They're going to come against the Lord and his angels when he cracks that sky. With their militaries, with their missiles, with their rockets and all of that. But it says the Lamb shall overcome them. Because what? Yahawashi is going to win. Yahawashi has already won. We're just waiting for it to physically manifest. They just don't know it yet. And he says, and he saith unto, verse 15 of Revelation chapter 17, it says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And it's verse 16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So what? EU, even though Canada's not part of the EU, but they in cahoots with the EU. Because it said everybody that was with you is going to come against you. Talk about America. And what not better than one that's the closest to you, Canada. And it said, these shall hate the whore, which is America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, before that fire comes, what else is it talking about? America being broken down as a whole kingdom. Because why? It says what? It says Canada and American relations will never be the same again. And he said the good old days are gone and won't return. And he's right about that. The good old days are gone and will not return. America's done. Canada's done. The EU is done. NATO is done. Esau's done. Central banking families, Rothschilds, all you motherfuckers are done. Thus saith Yahawah BAHASHAM, and he's coming for all of you, man. So you can go into your bunkers. You can go do whatever you're going to do. Make your little bullshit legislations. Make your little unrighteous decrees. At the end of the day, the Lamb shall overcome you. And that's Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And he's out for blood. All right? And it says, for Yahawah BAHASHAM have put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Remember, it's the will of Yahawah BAHASHAM. And that's why the beast is going to hate the whore. That's why the Lord got Canada's prime minister saying what he said. That's why he got the EU and NATO all in disarray. That's what? Satan's house divided. And it says, for Yahawah BAHASHAM have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahawah BAHASHAM shall be fulfilled. Because what's going to happen? Canada's going to go what? They're going to start fucking more with the EU countries and leaving America out. Because remember, America eventually is going to be left on an island. Even by their own Edomite counterparts. All right? And it says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. That woman is the whore, is Babylon the Great, which is America. But the Lord said, what? You go into the next chapter, it says, what? Babylon is fallen. It is fallen. You go into Isaiah, the 47th chapter. It talks about the daughter of Babylon and saying that there's no more throne. So that's why the Canadian prime minister said, what? The good old days are gone and won't return. And this is all what? Prophecy. This is all prophecy is what? In the scriptures. I just read out of the scriptures. Nothing else explains it. Nothing else. You go to the Quran, bring out any of these other books, ain't explaining shit. And if it was explaining something, then the Palestinians over there would understand what's going on to them right now. But you know what else? You know what does explain it? The scriptures, the prophecies, the God of Jacob, his story, his book, the Holy Bible. And it's all coming to pass. It's all unfolding as we speak. The beast shall hate the whore. All these things that are written in this book shall surely come to pass. Matter of fact, let's go into, what is that? Ezekiel 12. Oh, yeah. So it's the book of Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 23, and it reads, tell the people, this, I'm going to read this in the NLT. This is Ezekiel chapter 12, verse 23 in the NLT. It said, tell the people, this is what the sovereign Lord, Yahawah BAHASHAM says. I will put an end to this proverb. And that proverb, they were saying that nothing is coming to pass. These prophecies aren't happening, but they are happening. And it says, and you will soon stop quoting it. Now give them this new proverb to replace the old one. The time has come for every prophecy to be fulfilled, and that's what's happening. Canada coming against America, the EU, and all America being left on the island. That's all according to prophecy. And the Lord said, what? Now the time has come for every prophecy to be fulfilled. And we're in that time now. The time has come for every prophecy to be fulfilled. The prophecy is what? In the Bible. And no one can escape it. No one can stop it. No one can change it. There's no redos. There's no going back in time. Each day that passes, we're getting closer to America getting out of here. And to these devils losing the fatness of the earth. And it come back to the rightful owners, YAHAWASHI and the nation of Israel, the descendants of Jacob, starting with the elect of the Israelites, starting with the 144,000, 12,000 men out of the 12 tribes of Israel, and the rest of the 1/3, men, women, and children. And the Lord is breaking down this place, and soon enough, He's going to break this place down to where it don't exist no more. Eventually, it's going to be a time where America don't exist, where Esau's not going to rule. Esau's not going to exist. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, with that, Lord willing, this is edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kakadash. Double honors to the Apostles of Israel, a.k.a. the Apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach His truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.